I should always remember to unmute myself just before the video ends. How you going, guys? Yeah, we're here today with Eric. It's Ninaltowski. Is that correct?
That's it. Yep, you got it, man.
So that's a good Polish name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that I didn't want to stuff it up.
No,
Poland represent.
Exactly. How you going, mate?
doing well, man. Doing not too bad.
Yeah, great to have you here. I was gonna say thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy family man like myself.
Yeah,
I'm a family man as well, always super busy, but I actually do this during my lunch break from work. So this is
Really?
my lunch hour. So yeah, I mean, it's no skin off my back. You know, I don't have to stay up late, but I force a lot of Americans to stay up late, and especially people in other parts of the world. It's a nightmare to ask people from Europe to come onto this show because it's like, I think it's like 4 or 5 a.m. or something like that.
Well, yeah. No, it's not
Which
too
is a
bad.
bit unfair.
It's only 8 o'clock.
Oh, good. You're on the West Coast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
Works out well for you then. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah. So again, thanks for coming on. Really looking forward to talk to you. Your book, it's one of the top tier indie campaigns that have popped up in terms of art, and I'm really looking forward to chatting to you about that. But before we get into that, I do want to say hello to some people in the chat. And oh, look, first cab off the rank is Stefani Renee. Are you familiar with Stefani, Eric?
I am not. No. How's it going?
Yeah, this guy is he's just popped up, and he's got a book that's coming out. I think he's Brazilian, and I just want to share something so you can have a look. Where is it here? Let's share that screen. Yeah, he just loaded up his I think there is an echo there, Blue, actually, or some weird sound coming in. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. So yeah, it's called Wizard for Hire, Thomas Moria. And yeah, the art on this looks amazing. Yeah, he just sort of started popping up in the chat, started saying hello on Twitter, and yeah, it's I'm really excited. I want to get this guy on the stream as well. So yeah, anyone who hasn't seen that, go check it out. Holy crap, we have someone new coming in on the stream. Who's that there? Who are you, fine fellow?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. I decided today to embrace the idea that I am a middle-aged man.
Yep.
No longer the young stud that I once was, and not yet the silver fox that I'm sure I will one day be.
You're
And
in
so,
that.
today I just decided, why not try out that silver fox look now and see how I like it?
Well, I like it. It's a classic ensemble. I think that's a really good look for you, Joe.
Thank you.
Works.
Yeah, I'm quite partial to it.
Are you Cecil's dad?
Thank heavens, no.
One of our chatters wants to know.
Joe, have you met Eric before?
Not officially. We may have rubbed elbows on Twitter once or twice before, but I am familiar with Eric, and I'm a backer of Shadow SENTRY, so it's great to talk with you, sir.
You as well, man. How's it going, Joe?
It's going great. I'm living my best life.
Clearly. I mean, that mustache. It's you want to watch out for that.
Yep.
What drink is that you've got there?
I've got my iced milk here.
That looks good.
Where does one get a hat like that too? That you don't really see those brown hats like that much.
And when I'm on the shuffleboard courts,
Yeah.
showing those young 50-year-olds how it's done, I'll be in my element.
Yeah, you got to have that UV protection for your eyes.
Yeah, UV 400 there, mate.
Yeah, you got to keep you got to look after those things. All right, who else is here? We got Rick Saylor here. He says Hail Blue Samurai. He says Hal Stefani. He's checking out Adam's show at the moment, but he'll be back. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Who else is here? VIP's here. Oh, Mo Biggs. Mo Biggs never here when I start on time. It's like Superman and Clark Kent. The two things, they're never in the same place at the same time. Definitely a conspiracy. Shane Burge is in the chat. He says, "G'day, hope everyone's doing well." Is everyone doing well? I think we are. I think
A little sleepy, but that's all.
That's all right. Nothing a little caffeine can't help. Abel is bemoaning that there's too many great shows. Yeah, there are. I was just thinking today that CG turned from kind of there was Zach and then Ethan's show, and then that was sort of like they were the big shows, and now it just seems like it's just a place on YouTube where you can just go hang out, and it seems to be something on at all hours of the day, pretty much these days.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're big.
Well, I mean, that's what my wife tells me. No, I'm talking about my weight. Get it out of the gutter, Eric. No, I'm not talking about that. And I was saying, like, if you go into the car, just don't look at what is left. Don't look at the chocolate wrappers that you might find in the console there in the car. Just ignore them.
Yeah,
if you do find anything there, that wasn't me.
Mike, you're talking, but there's a dog on the screen. So what kind of dog is that?
That is a black lab.
Okay.
Ruger.
He looks kind of big, but friendly.
He is. He's really friendly. I walk him without a leash and never have any problems.
Cool. Ruger, that's his name. Like
Yes.
the guns.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Black labs are always friendly. Yeah, my mother had a couple of black labs. Antoine thinks you look like Gimli. There, Joe.
Oh, well, thank you, Antoine. That's quite a compliment.
I borrow ideas as Hal Eric.
Right. I just got done watching The Lord of the Rings. I watched while I'm drawing. I put it on. I watched the extended versions, but I just finished.
Oh yeah, I did that once as well. God, yeah. they take forever. I mean, at least they eat up a lot of time. These extended versions, you wouldn't want to go and sit in a cinema and watch them. I don't think it's better for having on in the background when you're drawing.
Exactly.
What did you guys think of the line that Peter Jackson threw in there without Professor Tolkien's approval when he had Gimli turn to Aragorn and say, "You'll have to toss me"?
I liked it. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I got
It's
no
one of my-
problem with that stuff. I mean,
It's one of my favorites. I'll be honest.
What do you think,
thought
Joe?
I thought it was hilarious. I laughed out loud in the theater.
And then he's like, don't tell the elf.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Kind of feeds
Yeah,
into
that-
their brotherly rivalry they have going.
Yes.
That's it. That trilogy is one that, yeah. I mean, I must watch them at least once a year, at least. I just love them so much, and they came out a long time ago, didn't they? It's like nearly 20 years or something.
I think it was 01 through 03.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, they hold up. They have not, there's nothing about them that is looking dated or anything. I friggin' love them. But I don't know if I'll go back to the extended versions. That was reading the book alone. I've got it right here. That was a journey in and of itself, and it felt like that when I was watching the extended versions. We've got Presence here. He says, "How the hell are you, bastards?" I think we've established we're all doing well. Rick is saying, Sketch is freaking out on Dal. Yeah, I saw that. I was there. Adam made me a mod, so I was throwing in links to the Lucent in there. Antoine wants to know what he means by tots. Well, make up your own mind on that. So let me share the screen now that has... Oh, we got this. It's got to change tabs. A little book here called Shadow Sentry. What's your background there in comics, Eric? You definitely look like a pretty accomplished fellow there in terms of the book you're putting out here. So what's your background?
I got my start around 2006. That was my first published work, but mainly all indie stuff. The one was published with Lamppost Publications, and they did it in a partnership with Zondervan, and it was like an 8-book series. And that was like, they did it small format, like a Manga America style. So it was like 150 pages per book. So when I was all said and done, probably like 900 pages of work I did. So that was like a great launching point for me. Kind of worked out some of the kinks and just kind of got, used to doing, my style, but then, just kind of hone it a little bit. Then from there, I went to a small book called Monomyth. It was a 3-issue series. I did a book, like a Samson adaptation, just like 16 pages or so, 20 pages. And then I did a bunch of sketch cards, and I think that's it.
What sort of timeline are we talking here? How long have you been, doing comics like this?
So full time, I've been doing them for probably the past 5 years, I want to say, roughly.
Okay.
So I quit my part-time job, as a server at a restaurant, quit that, and I was like, I'm just going to go for it, do it full time. That was about the time I did the Monomyth book, because it was a 3-issue series, and they're, had a normal schedule. So I was like, I'm going to need to focus on this hardcore. So, so about 5 years ago, and I haven't had to have another job, outside of the house. I do conventions, stuff like that, and then the comic book work. That's it.
Rick Saylor is asking me to put that full screen. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I've got the campaign full screen. He might be talking about this guy over here for the people who are just joining us and want to know what the hell is going on. Joe here is embracing middle age, clearly, as you can see. He's trying to transition from the young, sprightly lad that he was into the silver fox that he's about to become.
Yes, indeed. And
Show us your beverage.
Got some iced milk here. And so I decided to try and predict how handsome I'll look in my elderly years.
Yeah. They have an app for that now.
Oh, well.
I guess it's not as good as real life.
Yeah, well, if I wasn't an old crotchety boomer, I might look into that. But it's too newfangled for me.
Yeah, you got to download things. It's hard for us boomers. It's
Yeah.
pretty calm now. So all right. You do the art on this, Eric. Do you do the colors as well?
I do not. No.
Okay, I know
Yeah,
because
so
this is some intense stuff that I see on this book.
yeah, the colors really do a lot for it. Makes it pop. I was originally going to have the guy who does the covers. He goes by Carbon Graphics. Tremendous artist. He, for time's sake, he couldn't do it. So I had a guy named he goes by Kid Icarus. He's worked on a few other CG books, and so he's helping me out. And then Carbon Graphics is going to come back in and do all the like effects and stuff, and just kind of add his touch to it. So it's so that's kind of cool. I still have him in there, and he can add his touch to it.
Was Carbon Graphics the one who was doing Jawbreakers? Do you guys know that?
No, that was Brett R. Smith.
Right.
Okay. I swear that Carbon Graphics sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I know he's done a couple of projects. I'm trying to remember which ones offhand. If I didn't have dementia, I'd probably have it already.
Right,
We
Joe,
got
you still
a,
have your charm.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're very forgiving with you looking like that, Joe. Normally, we rely on you to be our co-encyclopedia along with Blue, but looking like that will give you a bit of leeway.
Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate it.
Rick Saylor asked, did you do all 4 covers? I don't think so, did you? You got a bunch of different artists.
Yep. So we got Matthew Weldon did one, Kevin Sharp, and then Mike Miller. Should be.
I'm getting seasick.
Up or
here,
down?
Michael.
I know. I'm trying. I
go up.
Up. Here we
Got
go.
it.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. The colors
Okay,
are all
so-
by the same guy, so they kind of make it look uniform. Make it look,
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, because they do all look. Maybe that's why you asked the question. Yeah, they do all look unified. In that sense. So yeah, so Matthew Weldon there on the top right, you're on the top left, Kevin Sharp down the bottom left, and Mike Miller bottom right. What's the one that's been most popular?
Probably Kevin Sharp's, the villains variant.
That is the one I chose for the thumbnail.
Yeah.
To be honest, I
Yeah.
like the green. I'm a green guy.
Nice. Yeah, it pops. It's cool.
Yeah, they all have their own charms. But I just liked in that one that you've got that main guy is really dominant, in the frame there with the green behind him. I thought at the very least it'd make a cool thumbnail. And you're doing a sketch cover variant as well.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
for
you're
that-
doing a slip cover.
Yeah. I wanted to try a little something different, so that way, people, if they get that, they could take it off the book while they read it, and that way they're not, touching it, not getting the fingerprints all over it, and they can also frame it separately. They can, get the book graded, however they want to do it, but just gives flexibility. And,
So would it have another cover inside that stays on the book, or is it just the innards of the book?
no, I'd have the cover as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So why, you say you got into comics about, what was it, 2003, 2006?
2006, yeah.
2006? Why comics? What got you there?
Always been interested in them. That's kind of what got me into drawing, actually. When I was a kid in elementary school, some kids were drawing at the lunchroom table, and I was like, hey man, what are you guys doing? This looks sweet. And then I just, got into what they were doing. They were just reading comics and drawing what they saw. And that was it, man. I was done after that. Found some Wolverine and some X-Men, and I was done. I loved it.
You go to school for art?
I did, yeah. I went to a two-year art college in Delaware.
Oh, cool.
It wasn't focused on comics, which, hindsight, I lived in New Jersey, and in northern New Jersey was the Kubert School of cartooning. I had no idea. So I went to Delaware. I went south, and I got a lot of good stuff out of it. I well-rounded, and we did fine art, photography, graphic design, did some animation. So I kind of got, a little bit of everything, but it wasn't like just comics, which I knew that's what I wanted to do. So, but either way, it worked out, and
So they taught you how to use pens and pencils correctly, and then it's just sort of a tour of art after that.
Kind of, yeah. So the first year was all, nailing down what you wanted to do. So you kind of got a little bit of everything, broad view. And then the second year, I got to focus on illustration. But yeah, I mean, lots of good information, lots of tools and things that I would have probably never, thought of on my own, things like that. So.
And so do you prefer traditional work, or are the pencils on this actually digital?
I do all traditional. Yeah, I'm more of a traditional guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Inking and everything.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Old
I
school.
see the cover
Like
art
it.
perk there, but that's there's an original page, but
let's
some
have a
people
look.
cheat and they like redraw their pages after doing them.
I know, can't stand those guys. Those
Yeah.
cheaters. How
Cheaters.
dare they?
They're the worst.
Dang, that looks good.
Oh
They would
man.
buy anything from.
So how this is a page?
Yes. Yeah. This is
How
actually
how much is a page like this?
how much time, or what do you mean?
No, how much are you selling a page like this on your campaign?
Pages are going for, I think, around 700.
Yeah.
It says right there 750, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the full screen on, Blue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, man, that looks sick. That looks really good.
So I'm interested the
I
other
love
way.
original
How
art.
much time does that page take for you to pencil and then ink?
So what I do to save myself time, I do an 8.5 by 11 like rough, which it's still pretty detailed, but I'll do that. I'll scan it in, and then I blow that up, and then I work off of that. So it kind of saves me, probably a few days worth of work. I don't go super tight because I'm inking it, so I'll just kind of get enough information on there. So when I do ink, I'm kind of like filling in the rest. But that took me, I think I started on Monday, so about 3 days or so.
Wow.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got a super chat here from CG World Order. He says, "Hail everybody!" with a big exclamation mark. Thanks, man. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, I was just looking here at this sequence here. You got this massive guy, these different characters. It really is reminiscent of that very kind of early 90s. All those team books that came out across Image and Marvel, and what were your big influences going back to those times?
Man, probably all of them. Spawn, Wildcats. Wildcats is probably my most favorite.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. This just looks like a Wildcats book. I wasn't really big into Wildcats, but yeah, I can just really see it here in this stuff.
So I collected like all the Image books early on, but Silvestri, Jim Lee, Liefeld, they were all big inspirations for sure.
It's important,
definitely.
I think. Sorry, go on, Pollen.
I was going to say, it definitely reminds me of a lot of the Top Cow books they have. Witchblade, Tomb Raider, Darkness from the Silvestri side and Turner side of things of Image. So that's pretty cool. And it drew my eye to the book immediately because, unlike a lot of people, I don't have a lot of frame of reference with comics, but those are the ones that I have. I have a lot of Top Cow stuff from that late 90s, early 2000s era. It's always over the top and a lot of fun and whimsical. And I think that's what we're missing.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say as well. It is important that people continue this. I mean, it's almost a genre in and of itself. That 90s era, style book that was exactly like this. I like what you've done here with the lettering over over him there, like a big boom sound. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, you appreciate the 90s, and that's where you grew up drawing. You drawing? What?
Drawing, yeah.
Drawing, yes.
We make up
Drawing
our
in
own
the
words
past
here.
tense. But you also mentioned your appreciation for the Lord of the Rings films earlier, and so I'm wondering, because you're the author on this, you're the writer as well. How did you pick up learning to write, basically, and what sharpened you over time?
Man, just whatever I thought was cool. Well, you always start with your premise. So I started with something that I liked, I enjoyed, and then just kind of you just slowly iron out the details. And, so for me, it's just a long process of going from, widescreen to just super narrow, super detailed. And then, when you get into the dialogue, just honing in on characters and, what you think they'll say and what you think it will make it cool. But yeah, writing is probably the hardest part for me. Takes the most time. So I have to mull it over constantly in my head, play it back and forth, and just, does it make sense? Does it sound cool? And all that kind of stuff. So it's more of a chore than the other things that I do, the artwork. But hopefully, my goal is to have an awesome product at the end and people enjoy it and keep them coming back for more.
Yeah. So you're not taking writing cues from imitating other authors, are you? You're just really doing. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I've heard some disasters with that where, some aspiring writer has told me, yes, this is my Lord of the Rings, and right there I know this is not going to be a good thing.
Yeah. No, this is like, hopefully something new. It's a lot of supernatural stuff. I got the whole heaven and hell thing going on, but the characters themselves, like the main character, he's got a story of his own, and it's like you're kind of following him, and you don't know if he's going to be on the side of the good guys or the bad guys. So it's kind of a journey kind of story as well.
Nice. So we were talking earlier about before the stream, I wandered in when Michael pulled me in. They were talking a little bit about how everybody wants to leave a legacy of some kind, something that's meaningful. And so this is your first venture into having a legacy that will outlive you, So it looks good though. I mean,
I've heard you talking. You're saying, is this your first crowdfund?
I did one before it. I did a sketchbook, like an Inktober book. Yep. So that was kind of just get my feet wet. I did a little preview of the characters from the Shadow Sentry. Those are the two characters there. That's from the Inktober book. There's there. So it was just to get my feet wet, just kind of get the distribution going and fulfillment and all that stuff. So now I'm ready.
Nice. Yeah, I was just going to say, I remember hearing you talking about this, saying you were, depending on how successful the campaign went, you're definitely looking to, keep continuing this as an ongoing series. Is that, do you think you're there yet?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
Fantastic.
I guess the only thing now is after it comes out and people read it, as long as they come back for more, then we're good to go. But if they say it sucks, then I'm have to do something else.
Well, I can already see at the very least the art is far from sucking, and you've actually put a lot of I was just looking here. You put a lot of dialogue in here too, so the people who are backed have probably given it a bit of a read and get a feel for your writing. So yeah. I find that with newer unknown properties, a lot of people wait until they start seeing people getting the book in their hands before they back. So I know I've done that as well, because you just even though things kind of look really cool, you just never know. But hopefully that'll happen as well.
Ain't nothing like pressure. So sorry about that.
I know. I mean, there's anxiety, isn't there, when you're putting out something new and asking people to pay good money for it, and then what if they think it sucks?
Right.
Okay, but then sorry, what's the alternative? What was that, Blue?
Well, I was just about to say I have another odd question, but it's about the artwork, and then I realized I've been kind of monopolizing. Maybe Joe.
No, go for it, man.
All right, so in your cover, which is the one I backed, I see the demon. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at my own scrolled thing. I'm not looking at where the broadcast is. There we go. Yeah, I see the demon back there with horns in his back, and I see the angelic figures with wings. Are those horns leftovers from where their wings were yanked off, or what is this? Is this just like a different species, or?
I'm just trying to make a cool looking demon, honestly, when I was doing that. I wasn't thinking about that.
The school of cool.
Really a question.
That would be cool. Yeah, I like that.
I do know from my wrestling, though, I would not want to have to wrestle a demon that's covered in spikes like that. That frightens me.
Right.
Or is that massive and muscly and has two massive horns in their head, and you could just skewer you at any moment.
Right.
I don't know if you've picked up on this, Michael, but I'm the weakest guy I've ever trained against. Like,
No, you haven't gotten into that, actually.
oh, okay.
But Blue, actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but my company is, Legacy Comics. My comic company is Legacy Comics.
Mhm.
But that's my goal, to have something long lasting and that people enjoy. And I've got other stories and books I could do down the road. But like my son, I named him Avon, and I have this kind of like Lord of the Rings type fantasy story. It's called Avon's Quest. And it's about a boy, and he gets a sword and he gets armor and he gets a shield and all that kind of stuff. So, down the road.
Is that intended to be a children's story?
No, not so much.
Okay.
It'll be, for all ages.
Did anyone see that King Arthur story set in England? It was a movie that came out last year. Did anyone catch that? I've been meaning to catch it. Obviously, no one has. Everyone's just staring at me with a blank face. But yeah, I know the trailer looks pretty good, but I haven't caught it yet. It sounds something a little bit similar to that. It's a kid who finds a sword in a, probably some
are you talking about
trash pile or something?
The kid who becomes a king or something like that?
Yes, that's it. That's the one.
Okay, my kids have watched that. Yeah, it's
Did they
definitely
like
for
it?
kids. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it is for kids. I don't know. That's probably why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. I watched it with him, and it was good, but it was like, just some of the stuff was like, it's too young for me. But
Bit goofy.
The girl, yeah, it's got Patrick Stewart in it, and the girl, I can't remember her name, but she was in like the last Mission Impossible. I forget her name, but she's really beautiful. But she was in it, and she turns into this crazy like demon. So my kids were a little freaked out about that, but other than that, they liked it.
Kids need a bit of freaking out these days. The kids' stories, they're too, I don't know, they don't go dark enough. I remember being terrified of Neverending Story and a bunch of other things. I think they need that. I think that's missing. Did I say it's King Arthur, but it's set in England or something? Is that what I said? I meant it's an English movie, is what I meant. It's like an actual made by the English people. It's not an American film. I say dumb things on the stream. My wife asked me about that. I said, "Why do you always say really dumb stuff when you're on a stream?" I don't know.
Well, instead of letting you recover, we'll just change the subject. So, is your son old enough to be into comics yet?
Yes, yeah, he's 10. So I've had him read The Hobbit, the illustrated comic, and a few things. So yeah, I throw him things here and there. He like starts something, but he doesn't finish it. So I just got to keep on him about it. It'd probably help if I didn't give him like huge, comics too. But
Tomes.
Yeah.
Here, read this. You'll love it, but it weighs more than you do.
I didn't get into comics until I was 11 anyway. Yeah, and they were, I mean, this is sort of like right about this era that you're going for here, really early 90s. I think it was like 91, 92. And it was just, small floppy Spider-Man comics, and the extent of the comic was he goes to a warehouse, some people try and kill him, he beats them up, and then he goes home and a cut scene to him with Mary Jane or something. I loved them.
Right. Yeah. Super simple, easy,
What are you guys going on about in the chat here? Transformers The Last Night. I don't know what's going on. Humphrey says some movies are too dark. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're not dark enough, the kids' films. I don't know. I think kids need to be scared sometimes. If you read the Grimm brothers tales and stuff, it's the kids they're going to get eaten if they don't pull their finger out and get something done. The kids need to have that fear of God put in them a little bit. Can't all be sunshine and rainbows.
I remember watching. I don't know what my dad was thinking, but I'd watch Friday the 13th as a kid and stuff, and all kinds of horror movies, and yeah, I turned out all right. So
How old were you when you watched Friday the 13th?
I don't remember honestly, but whenever they came out, probably under 10 is my guess. But I have to
Wow.
I have to look at the year.
I
I
remember
was
being a
watching-
kid. Yeah, I remember being a kid, and you'd go and borrow, like, from the video store. Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, the dog wants out. He
Yeah,
wanted in, now he wants out.
Can't make up his mind.
think of your mind.
Yeah, VIP
Yeah.
is a fan of Friday the 13th. That movie it's funny how, like, that movie actually started out really quite scary and more of a thriller, and then by the end it was kookier than by the end of the series, it was kookier than Nightmare on Elm Street, which started out pretty crazy by itself.
Mhm.
And I remember my brother's really big into those films. He's a big horror buff, and I'd always ask him, how does he keep coming back to life? I don't understand it. He's just a dude who goes around stabbing people, but he keeps coming back, and he's like, you don't understand. He's pure evil. The evil of the world just infuses in him, and he brings him back to life. It didn't make any sense to me.
It was always great how everybody's like running as fast as they possibly can, and they're going through the woods, and they go around the corner, and it's like somehow the dude ends up behind them. Like, just
Yeah.
like,
There's one a bit later on the track. I think it was maybe one where, the camp has been closed down for a long time, but then the kids, they want to go out and stay there. They've heard the stories. And yeah, what happens. Something always has to happen first. You have to see a pair of tits first, and then the killing is about to start. And I remember they all scattered out into the woods. And it was so funny because he would just, like you said, appear out of nowhere. And if he looked left, he would find a blunt weapon, like a log or a hammer or something. And if he looked right, he would find something sharp. So he'd find like an axe leaning against a tree. Or there's actually one scene, no kidding, they're out in the middle of the woods, and I mean, he's by himself. He finds his victim. He looks to the right, and he finds a whippersnipper, a grass trimmer, just in a tree, and he pulls it down and starts going at them. Boy, that was just so hilarious. Although he had a good creative kill once where he took off his belt and he tied someone to a tree and just pulled the belt really tight. I didn't think that would work, but I mean, I guess anything goes when you're Jason.
right. Yeah. You mentioned the Neverending Story. My kids just watched that for the first time, and I think they liked it. I remember being just kind of like, there's a few things in it. It was just like, I didn't know how to take, like, the kid and his horse, drowning and all that stuff. Like, it was pretty deep. But I asked my kids about it, and they're like, it didn't bother me. It's like, all right, cool.
Kids are so desensitized these days. They've seen death, man. They've seen things.
Stop taking your 8-year-old to the bar, Michael.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my weird kids. The Neverending Story is just an amazingly crafted story, and it's based on a book that is, it's a real classic. And the film is a bit different, but that kind of, it brings the audience into the reader into the story idea. I think, it's an amazing thing. And I do enjoy the movie, but I remember trying to watch the second one, and I was like, no, this is too weird for me. All those weird heads, and I had to nope out. Smiling Bandita's in the chat. He says, "Hail and well met." He's another one of our regular hosts here, Eric. But he also has to work a lot. This is apparently the busiest time of the year for him.
Mm. So speaking of second efforts and whatnot, Eric, how many volumes do you see this initial arc going? Because you got 48 pages now. What are we going for?
I was thinking probably by the second book I can wrap up the first arc, but it depends. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I could stretch it out. So if I can, but I don't want to squeeze it in. You know what I mean? I want it to be natural. I want it to flow. So if I feel like I could do 3, I'll just do another book. But I was hoping to do 2.
And I had a better question in my head, but it fell out as soon as I asked that one.
Well, there's a question here in the chat from Nighthawk Warrior. He says, so Eric, how is pages 32 to 33 of Shadow Sentry? I'm not sure what that refers to.
Would you like to see it? Well, so this is page 32. I just finished this one today. So I'll show you this one again.
Yeah.
Lots going on. Lots of this character here is Hardwire. So he can control machines and computers by touch via his nervous system. So that's kind of what's going on there.
I love that perspective, that bird's eye view on the left there at the top. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then the other half, I'll show you that. Come on. Oh. So let's see here. So this would be the full page. So kind of get an idea what's going on. So there you have it.
There you go. Ask and you shall receive, Nighthawk Warrior.
Yeah.
Comics with Calloway says he can't wait for this one.
Cool.
Oh, I remembered now. So you've got the first arc there. What about? Do you have big plans for where this is really going to go? Do you have ideas for further arcs, or like Luke Stone does, or he's got 5 arcs in mind? Luke does, and they're like 5 issues each, 5 floppies each. So, what's your situation?
So after the first story arc is done, I guess so. Once I'm into the second story arc, what I can start doing is kind of creating other books and other teams, and then just kind of open up the world to different, a whole lot more. So, and then I get into the backstories and all kinds of stuff. So I have a lot of plans, and kind of like the old school Image books where there's Youngblood, and then there's Team Youngblood, things like that. Like I can have other teams come on and have other artists do those, and just kind of keep them going. That's my plan. Do an ongoing series, but also do shoot-offs, things like that. So if I could do that, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a huge blessing if this took off and you could hire other teams.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's the good thing about crowdfunding. If they do find an audience, you can then become like a little publisher.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And hire people. You're awfully quiet over there, Silver Fox Joe.
Well, it's past my bedtime, so I'm staying up late just for you guys.
Takes a Xanax to go to bed. Crushes it up and stirs it into his milk.
I'm sorry, I dozed off for a moment there. What were you saying?
Someone had a question there. Someone saying, Lord Crackhead said they're about to butcher the Labyrinth with a sequel.
A sequel? What?
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
I love the Labyrinth.
I do not trust today's sensibilities of Hollywood to be able to recapture anything. I was probably about 10 when I saw the Labyrinth for the first time, and I was kind of blown away. That still does freak me out a little bit. Truth be told, it's just the whole style of it. It's kind of weird and depressing. And when she gets stuck in that big trash heat land, and there's that freaky woman, I'm just really glad when she gets out of that.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the Dark Crystal when you saw it?
Oh, I was tiny and I loved it.
I never watched it. I couldn't get past the start. I couldn't get past the.
I barely remember it.
Yeah,
they were too freaky. Yeah,
I couldn't get into it, but I love the Labyrinth. But something about the Dark Crystal I just couldn't get into. But I went back. I watched the new one on Netflix, and that was awesome. Really well done.
Yeah, I was happy that on the new show they stayed true to the Jim Henson Workshop level of craftsmanship on the first film, and for the most part, they only added special effects when practical effects would have been pretty much impossible.
Right.
And Boom Studios has been doing, well, I think one of them was the actual sequel script for The Dark Crystal, and then they've been doing some other books as well in that line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, I remember-
they did a Labyrinth series too, right?
Sorry?
Did Boom Studios do a Labyrinth series?
I think so. I'm not sure. You say it sounds familiar.
It's probably like a few years ago now, but kind of remember something like that.
Antoine's asking about Legend with Tom Cruise. I didn't actually ever see that, I don't think, which is weird.
My favorite part of that film is the unicorn with the floppy horn.
It's got a flaccid horn.
I can
All right,
relate.
May have to go. Yeah, you would now. You need to take the little blue pill to get that horn activated.
I'm not
Or like that
ashamed
dude.
to
Did you
admit
see that
I
dude
know
who
about-
had to put? Did you see that dude who had to grow a penis on his arm?
Unfortunately, I did see that.
And you know, if he wants, did you see that, Eric?
No.
It's real. I thought it was a joke. I thought, oh, this is, another one of those joke, articles. No, it's real. The guy he got an infection and apparently just let his junk turn purple, and eventually it fell off.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I don't know how it gets to that, or if they tried to stop it and they couldn't, or whatever happened. They kind of glossed over that, which I thought was that needed to be touched on. How do you let that happen? But anyway, the thing fell off, and he spirals into a depression, as you would. And then he hears about some European company that is specializing in regrowing body parts from stem cells. So they use his own cells and regrow a penis. This is all real. This isn't sci-fi. But they have to grow it somewhere, and they can't grow it in the area in his crotch. Apparently, I don't know why. And it grows on his arm, and it's got a working urethra and nerves and everything, and it's it's part of his body, so it won't get rejected or anything. But to make it erect, he has to do like a manual pump. It doesn't. They couldn't figure out how to do that yet. So yeah, he's got to sit there with a pump, I guess, like a hand pump whenever he needs it, which
Wow.
could be a blessing for him in later years. And he said that when they designed it, he put on a couple of inches onto it. So it sounds fake. It sounds like when I say this stuff out loud, I'm thinking I need to go back and check this, because this sounds totally fake, like we're all being punked. But it was in reputable newspapers.
No, we've seen the mouse where they're regrowing a human ear, the auricle of the ear on the outside of a mouse's back. So yeah, we've seen that before.
But an ear is just the shaped cartilage, like nerves and.
It was a start.
Yeah, I know. It's just So anyway, he's got it on his arm, and he's walking around. He says he's got to wear long sleeves everywhere, and people do notice a lump sometimes, and they all have a good laugh about it. But yeah, he's waiting. I don't know what he's waiting for. I guess preparation, or maybe they have to finalize some things. Obviously, this is a first for this. They're gonna take it off his arm and reattach it in the appropriate area. It would suck if it didn't take, and he had to start the whole thing again.
And when they're all done, I'm sure he's going to kind of skip the circumcision, just like no thanks. Yeah, we've had enough.
Yeah. The rabbi comes in. He's like, okay.
Would they have to cut a hole in his arm? Because would it have to be attached to blood vessels and stuff, or what?
I mean, it
so
would.
weird.
Yeah, 'cause it's living. It would have to be. I've got no idea. I hope they thought about all this before they started. And people might not realize that the penis doesn't start at the where the body is. It goes all the way in.
It's half and half.
Yeah, so I don't know what the deal is there. If they just kind of stick it on the top and he pumps it up, it might be hard, but you can kind of like flop it around all over the place, like an elephant. Have you ever seen two elephants going at it?
No.
I saw that in the flesh. I was like, I took my kids to the zoo, and yeah, the bull was mounting the female, and I was like, oh look, you're really lucky to see this. Oh my god. It's just like, what's happening? Don't worry about it, but just look at this. This is, I haven't seen this before. And that thing is like it's like a snake, because it's got to go up. Yeah. Lord Crackhead says this is the stuff of nightmare. Brave new world we're living in.
I think Melanie is pulling a whistle on this one. Michael, I'm exerting self-control to just not jump in on. Sorry, not Michael, Eric, to just not jump in and say, "Okay, enough of this." So with Melanie's cue, I'll ask you. I kind of lost track of something because I've got multiple windows open. How long has this story been rattling around in your head, getting fleshed out and worked on? Because Michael talks about his story being 6 to 10 years.
Oh wow. Man, it's hard to tell because I created like a few different stories, and so what I found is like, okay, I like this character, so I took him from this book and put him in Shadow Sentry. Mm-hmm. And even, obviously before this, Shadow Sentry wasn't even the title, it was something else. And so it's just, I don't know how many years, honestly. I'd say at least 4 or 5. But, within the past years when I really started, because, I'm bad, I'll have like 5 different ideas in my head and I'll start working on one, then I'll go to the other one, like, okay, I'm going to go to this one. Mm-hmm. So I finally just focused on this one and like really nailed it down and really kind of just got the whole plot together and everything. So I couldn't tell you honestly, but for a few years at least. But again, I'm always creating, I'm always thinking of characters and powers and all that stuff. So, but that's been going on for, since I was super young. So.
Oh, cool. So before we get back into elephant sex, I should ask, one of my standard questions is always like, how did this start or whatnot? And I understand that the answer might be, I was in the shower, but when you first, and we have a few of these hell has sprung a leak into our world stories going in Comicsgate, but yours is yours. Where did it start? What was the first idea that came to you, even if it's changed drastically, but how did this start?
Probably the start was something stupid and simple, like superheroes, they have powers and they fight bad guys, and but I always loved the supernatural aspect, the heaven versus hell, the duality of worlds. Like we're only one of two. There's the seen and then you have the unseen. So I like that dual world kind of thing, kind of like Michael's book, The Lucent. You got the dream world and you have the real world. And I know he likes The Matrix, and I love The Matrix, and just that, there's like a world pulled over our eyes kind of deal. And so I wanted to do something like that. So I was like, the supernatural is the perfect, way to go about it. And, just really explore heaven and hell. But then at the same time, I wanted to be in the real world. So I'm like, okay, how do I do that? And I didn't want to do something just where, okay, they're superheroes. I want to do something where they're getting these powers from somewhere, but it's not, they're born with them. That's been done. So how they get them is they have a near-death experience. And when they get across to the other side, it's like heaven or hell is giving them the powers, bestowing them upon them. And then they return with them. And then, they have to be responsible for them and all that stuff. So, it was just a long process. Probably started out super simple, super dumb, just superheroes.
I could totally see that. Has anyone seen the first ideas of George Lucas with Star Wars?
Looks almost nothing like the film.
Yeah, it's just, some of it is just ridiculous. Some of it's so weird. And then, that's how these things happen. You start off with these, you kind of want to tell something that you're interested in, and then, they kind of evolve from there. I can totally see how that would happen. I totally eat up these sort of stories, Eric. You know, with the heaven and hell stuff.
Cool.
I'm really big into you know, I just read Soul Finder by Doug Ernst not that long ago, and you know, there's a bunch of stuff like Constantine and stuff, and I just love that whole biblical side of things. It's, you know, they what do they call that? Like, you know, the greatest story ever told, or something like that. That whole
Yeah, that's the name of one of those Bible films from the 70s that, you know, they put the Bible on film.
yeah, right.
Told, and Jesus of Nazareth, and those are usually pretty Catholic.
Simon.
Yeah, yeah, we got Simon here.
Simon, sorry.
Simon Simpotier. I can't do his accent. It's far beyond my capabilities. I was watching Deadwood Dale. He could do everyone's voice. He used to go on the road with that show. Greg says, now this is awesome, not crappy black and white art. Well, I like black and white art. I don't like crappy black and white art, but this is full color madness.
Yes.
Which I also really like.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to start something cool and new that people are going to get into. But yeah.
Now you're in demand. When are you thinking this is going to start hitting people's hands?
Probably, you know, November. Hopefully before then. Something like that. So definitely before the end of the year.
And if that being the case, are you looking to do these yearly, or go into a couple of year, or what are you thinking there for the future?
So for right now, yearly. So my next campaign will probably be February next year, same time that I started this one this year. And then, you know, if I can, I'd like to do more than one a year, do 2 a year or something. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if I can get other creative teams on board, then, you know, yeah, just do a few.
Nighthawk Warrior says, bye, Eric and all.
See you.
Thank you for popping in, Nighthawk Warrior.
And
Great
Michael,
to have you here.
If you don't mind going down to the last colored page on the campaign.
Gonna make you sick again. All the way down. There?
Yeah. Now, we skipped over all the rest of them, but I remember way back when I was looking at this more closely, Eric, this final page where he's trapped, and it's the top panel that you're not showing, Michael.
Yeah.
It's more clear there where he's trapped and he's about to be torn apart. Like, to me, that after glancing over the other pages first, that spelled stakes in the story, and that got me. Just thought you should know.
Cool. All right. Awesome, man.
All right, guys. Well, yes, it's that time of the night again. We've come up to the end of the hour, and I unfortunately have to go back to work, as it were. But Eric, it's been great to have you on. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of your art, and it's really good to see that people have taken a shine to this. Because yeah, I definitely want to see you know, more of this in the future. This is the kind of stuff that we need. Awesome. As Greg says there, beautiful.
Full of beauty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more books like this, Eric. I look forward to more of this style.
Awesome. All right.
We hope you.
Yeah, all of the books that you've showed us that you have, Poland, they look very much like this, don't they? It's your kind of jam.
Nice.
All right, guys, we are going to leave it there. Tomorrow we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have on a different kind of guest, and I will let you guys know on Twitter and maybe even a post on YouTube before that all kicks off. What's that?
Martians?
Yeah, we got a line to the CIA, and you know that we found the what do they call it? The craft that is not of this earth. And yeah. Oh look, Crackhead has an idea. Back the Lucent too. Yeah. If anyone here hasn't backed, I mean, you'd be silly not to. And also smang that Melee. How do you say? How do you pronounce that? Melee.
Melee. Man.
Smack that button. More crackhead trying to confuse us. No, we do have a slightly different show going to happen a bit earlier tomorrow. I'll put the feelers out as to whether or not anyone wants to come and have a party and do the late night with Comicsgate show.
It's Melee. That's how you pronounce that.
That's what I said. Melee.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Sorry,
All right, Blue. So we'll see if that happens. But there is definitely going to be a show tomorrow a bit early. I think it's Poland's happening at 9 p.m. I think he's muted.
9
So
p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. So yeah, that's going to be good. But I'll let you guys know on Twitter before that goes down. So Eric, thanks again, man. It's been great. Thank you for giving us your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it. It was fun.
Absolutely. And Joe, I hope you can figure.
What?
I hope you can figure out, whatever it is that you're going through, and make this transition and be happier on the other side of all this.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Blue, Poland, always a pleasure.
Always.
And
Never a
I'll
chore.
have to thank everybody in the chat. You are a blast as always. Thank you for your questions and comments. Sexiest chat in CG. Skip Edwards Art. Sorry, I ran out of time. Couldn't get you on. Maybe next time. And we will see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Finally, I can